Ovario, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. And we're here with Sylvia David. She is a womb lover and she has been involved with a lot of different herbal things with Dr. HerbSistah. And she wanted to give people her experience so that you can partake in some of the greatness that she's experienced because she feels just ecstatic about her new life. So I'll give you a chance, Sylvia. Thank you for coming. And just talk how you need to and say what you want. And I'm gonna be over here. I'm gonna be the amen corner. So just don't stop.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for having me here. Um, when I first started this journey, it was at the beginning of this year,
Mhm.
and I really didn't know what to do. I went to the doctors during this pandemic
Right.
and found out that I had fibroid issues, and I am currently like into the perimenopausal
Mhm.
stage.
Mhm.
So it kind of all hit me really quick. I started skipping my cycles
Mhm.
and having them every 3 or 4 months.
Mhm.
And I started just with the normal cycles, and they were always heavy. And
Okay.
so I started then having the fibroid bleeds.
Mhm.
So once I started the fibroid bleeds, I noticed that my cycles were almost 3 to 4 weeks
Oh
every
wow.
time I had them.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, so I
Mhm.
started off with my cycle for about a week and a half, and then for about 2 weeks and a half, I would have the fibroid bleeds,
Mhm.
which contributes to my anemia.
Mhm.
So I have a severe case of anemia, and so I had to take iron pills. I went from one iron pill a day to two iron pills a day, which
Mhm.
then, affected,
Your
with
constipation. Constipation.
constipation.
Yeah. Because I have a blood building herbal because that really tears up a lot of women and gives them hemorrhoids.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the
And
thing is that you got to do something, you know.
yeah, so it's almost like a cycle that I was going around. I
Right.
also have acid reflux. So with the constipation,
All right.
my along with the fibroids, and they were growing. So when I first had the fibroid check, my fibroids were um, I had
The
three.
fibroids, right?
Yes,
The
the sorry, yes,
right, because you don't own
the
them, you don't
fibroid. I
love them.
don't own them, and I've been saying
Okay.
that through this whole journey.
Right.
I do not own them.
Right.
So yes, so the fibroids were the size of, one was 9 point something, the other one was like a 10, and the other
Mhm.
one was 8. Now they were not inside of my uterus; they
Mhm.
were on the outside. One was connected to the uterus. The other two, it's like a stem that they grew from.
Pendulous.
Okay.
Pendulous. They hang. Yeah.
Yes. So, and it ended up pushing my uterus over to my left, and then the fibroids were on the right side.
Okay.
So, once we found that out, and he said, I went to my doctor, and he said that they're not on the inside. My uterus looks good, but my uterus was 13 centimeters.
Okay.
So
Mhm.
he was explaining to me that it should be the size of a light bulb. Well, mine was the size of a football.
Okay. Mhm.
So, which then my stomach started protruding. And this all happened quickly.
Mhm.
Um, they grew rapidly.
Did you have a big stress happen in your life?
Yes, I had to move back, to my hometown.
Mhm. Mhm.
And, my father's up in age, and
Okay.
trying to deal with his sicknesses and things that he was going through.
Okay.
So I didn't have these issues when I lived in Georgia.
Right.
Very
Right.
healthy, but I ended up gaining 40 pounds.
Okay.
I was gaining 3 pounds a week.
Wow. Mhm.
2 to 3 pounds. I was going to the doctor asking, what is this? Is it thyroid? Is it, I have something going on? And they were like, well, it's the pandemic weight. And I'm like, no, I'm not eating. I eat pretty healthy,
Mhm.
not to the point where, I wasn't vegan at the
Mhm.
time.
Mhm.
But so then my brother, whom you had helped,
Mhm.
said, you need to speak with her. And I immediately, got the consultation with you,
Right.
and we started the journey.
Right. 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 Yeah, you got a little baby. He's not a baby now. Moses, how old is he?
Yes, he's 5. He turned
5.
5.
Wow.
Yes,
Wow. Right. Yeah. I saw
yes,
a picture of him um at the hair show when his dad came by and said, "Let me show you what we got," you know. And I saw a
yes,
picture of him when he was like probably a year or 13 months, something like that. Cute, cute
yes,
little boy.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So
Yeah.
we truly appreciate what you've done for them. And so
Right.
that was the reason why I said, absolutely, I'm going to give her a call. And I did, and you immediately, put me on to the things that I needed, and
Mhm.
I ordered everything that you told me I needed, you
Yeah.
know, even to
Mhm.
work on my gut,
Mhm.
the extra
Yeah. Yeah.
things.
Right. Right.
I did order that. I also started going to therapy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Therapy is really a good thing.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yes. Yes.
I started
Because
going to
this
therapy.
we're talking about this because having issues with your womb is emotional and spiritual also. It's not just
Yes.
physical. So you got to get that other stuff gone. You got to work on it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So
Mhm.
I've been going to therapy.
Yay.
I also started with a nutritionist that's all
Right.
plant based.
Mhm.
So she was making my meals for me, and
Okay.
because I didn't know where to start with that. You
Right,
think
right,
you're
right. You
eating
had a lot going.
healthy,
Right.
yes,
Yeah.
and amongst some other issues that I found out, that I was having, I had to have hernia
Right.
surgery.
Right.
So that was a success. And I found out that I have something called spasmatic dysphonia,
Mhm.
which is it's a where your vocal cords shake.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
now, if you go into the more natural reasons for that, they were
Mhm.
saying that it is due to childhood trauma.
Mhm.
I always thought it contributed to the acid reflux.
Right.
So that's the medical
Right.
somewhat of a reason. And they said just some people have it.
Right. Right. Well,
Um,
you know what? I don't ever like to subscribe to some people have it because then that kind of lets people off the hook for when you were a child or when you had some kind of trauma and I was talking to
right,
another sister like this. Women who have womb issues, their throat chakra is closed. They don't tell people what they need to tell them.
no, you're right.
Yeah.
You're
So it's a
absolutely
lot of
right.
stuff that's going on that they want to just make purely physical that is not. And we are an emotional being. I mean, like when somebody says they make my stomach hurt or they get on my nerves, that is a true statement.
Correct,
People do make your stomach hurt. They do get
correct.
on your nerves and when you have nerve issues, you have acne, you have, you know,
Mhm.
issues with your digestion, you have issues with um having bowel movements. I mean, all of that is people getting on your nerves.
Yes, yes. And working with mainly children, you know,
Okay.
um, all my life, it's just
Mhm.
even those that were. I used to work at a juvenile detention camp,
Yep.
so the
That
stresses, the
the
worries,
heart, the heart,
yes,
your heart was really torn.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And
Yeah.
I mainly work with children who have more so of learning disabilities
Okay.
that, the system has given up on.
Right.
So, just having that, I didn't know how to release it, so all the years of, friends calling and I'm the ear and the voice of reason, or,
Right.
just trying to help, it just weighed heavy. It
Right.
weighed,
Right.
and it
Right.
took its toll on my body.
Right.
It
Right.
did.
Right. Right. And I saw you on the beach looking all hot, lost like all this weight and everything. I was like,
I
whoa,
did.
you know?
I did. I
Yeah.
had, during that time, I went up to, I gained the first 40 within, I would say about maybe 4 months.
Mhm.
And then I ended up gaining about probably another 15.
Mhm.
And so I had really gotten up to all the way to I'm sorry, 218.
Okay.
My
Okay.
original weight is normally around 165,
Okay. Wow.
168 ish.
Mhm.
And so I gained a lot of weight. But once I
Yeah.
started, taking the herbal supplements that you provided, and the detox drinks and things like
Mhm.
that, I
Mhm.
started losing. And with
Mhm.
I first I ended up, it stopped. The weight had stopped. Like
Okay.
I didn't
Okay.
increase,
Right.
and which
Okay.
was a good thing.
Right.
And then, yeah, and then as I, continued on with the process
Right.
and eating more healthy, all, plant based,
Right.
um, the weight started coming off.
Mhm.
I couldn't really exercise like I wanted to because of the hernia
Right.
situation. And
Right.
it drug out so long because of the pandemic,
Right.
pushing back the surgery
Repair.
appointment. Yes.
Yeah. Mhm.
So I finally had gotten that done. And then, I started taking off the weight. So far I've lost 25 of
Oh
the
wow. But
pounds.
you know what? You probably feel like more because you lost that emotional stuff too.
I did. I did.
Yeah.
Still
Yeah.
have work to do,
Right.
but I'm still in therapy.
Oh
Did
yeah.
not
Yeah.
stop.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. And but you know what? They work hand in hand. You know,
it
a lot
does.
of times women will, just say, well, I just know how this is, or I know how my job is, and they try to discount it like it's not really affecting them because they just poof, ignore it and keep going. But your body is still responding to it because the body is not trying to take it off like, oh, I ain't studying them. The body doesn't studies everything, you know?
Right. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So today, well, yesterday, day before yesterday, I'm sorry, I had gone to the doctor,
Yeah.
and I had another ultrasound done. And so from March of 20 was when I had the last one.
Hmm.
And I mean, the first one. And then the one that I had a couple of days ago, it showed that the fibroids did shrink to half its size.
Oh wow.
So instead of it being like around, 10, 10, 10, and 8, it's
Mhm.
like 9.7. So I'm just kind of rounding up.
Right.
But now they're at a 5, 5, and 4 centimeter.
Yeah.
So how he explained it to me, he said, so when you were the size of 6 to 8 months pregnant,
Hmm.
he said now you're down to 8 to 12 weeks.
Yay.
So it did shrink.
Ovario.
Yes.
Yes.
Mario.
Yes.
Yes. So I'm excited about that. I kind of felt it, in my body because,
Right.
man, those things that I was tight. I
Right.
really felt like, that I was pregnant.
Oh, right.
My
Right.
stomach, my sides, nothing I could do. Those waist trainers, they didn't work.
Oh, right. Oh, you tried everything, I see.
I tried everything, and
Right.
they didn't. It was like, okay, well, the bulge is still there. Um, but I tried everything, and I was like, well, I'll just have to allow it take its course, and those fibroids did shrink. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm very excited. I'm very thankful. I
Oh,
am.
wow.
You
I'm
have
happy
no
for you.
idea.
Oh yeah, I have some ideas. I mean,
Yes, yes, you do.
I hear this a lot. Yes. And the
Yes,
thing is that, you know, w- one of the things is women do not like people coming up to them asking them or congratulating them and asking them when are they going to deliver.
right,
That
right,
right there is like the end of the cycle for most women. Is like people are asking me when am I going to have the baby, and that's a
right,
big thing. And I wanted to say to you, I said it earlier, but I love to bring this up because that was back in like 87 when I was a student at UC Berkeley. One graduate student who was in folklore, her name was Maraway, and what she said at that time is that Black women put on weight to protect their heart and their feelings and emotions. And
mm,
and from that point, I have all, I was like, wow, but I knew that she had a point just because of some of the images that Black women had been associated with. Thick, thick women,
right,
really,
right,
all of that. So I knew that, there was something to it. But as I've gone into this work and have been doing it this many years, I recognized that what she said was significant because that should be most women's clue that they need to get somewhere and talk to
right,
somebody.
right,
When you start gaining weight, like you saying 3 pounds a week, and you're like, I'm not even eating like that,
right,
that's the clue that you're doing something you don't want to do, and you are loving yourself, or you're in capturing yourself to protect yourself from the outside.
right. And, even speaking on it, because I had several doctor's appointments. I mean, I didn't have high cholesterol, no diabetes, no
Right.
high blood pressure.
Hmm.
And I knew that I was not eating in a way of binge eating or, just eating a
Right.
lot of stuff because, everything's shut down and I'm back at
Right.
home. And I
Right.
knew I wasn't eating those things like that because I have acid reflux. Like I
Right.
cannot.
You
And
don't eat
I
on the
was,
road.
no. And
Yes.
I was begging them, what is going on? Like,
Right.
how is this? I made them give me the thyroid test. It did
Right.
not come back, positive. And I
Hmm.
said, something is going on. And even one doctor put, well, just stop drinking sodas. I said, I don't even drink sodas. I don't remember what a soda tastes like because of my
Hmm.
acid reflux,
Oh
and
wow,
it
yeah.
burned my throat,
Right. Right.
to drink it. So it's
Right.
been over 10 years since
Right.
I've had
Right.
a soda. And
Right.
that's what they requested. And just, go outside and exercise, get some fresh air. And even when I did exercise, nothing happened.
Oh,
It did
right.
not happen. And then they were like, well, you can't exercise a whole lot now because of the hernia. Now
Right.
you had the surgery, you have to get it repaired. Oh,
Right.
we found, the polyps, and I had the a polyp removed out of my esophagus.
Okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
And they said that I had a mild case of acid reflux.
Oh, so it shouldn't have
A
been doing
mild.
all that.
Well, I know I had it more because
Hmm.
of the fact that I was vomiting um, years ago. I used to vomit every day.
Okay. As a weight loss thing or anxiety.
No, no, it was my acid reflux.
Oh, it was
Before
involuntary
I
vomit.
knew, before
Okay.
I knew that I had acid reflux.
Okay. Okay.
And
Okay.
like I said, I didn't really eat a lot. So I
Hmm.
developed acid.
Right.
So mine was more so in the reverse. I had to eat more times during the day,
Right.
but
To
I
keep it
didn't know
busy.
that.
Right.
Being a single parent, you're raising
Right.
three kids, you're trying to, get them to their activities,
Right.
you're working, so I didn't really eat a lot, not
Right.
knowing that that was doing the damage,
Right. Right. Right.
And was watching still, pretty much what I ate,
Mm-hmm.
but didn't know, certain vegetables, certain, like tomatoes and things. I didn't know. I didn't
Right.
know
African
that
tomatoes.
onions,
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know those things. I was eating
Right.
grapefruits. I didn't know, you
Right.
know.
Right.
So
Right.
once
Right.
I learned, then it kind of slowed down a bit. But
Right.
my anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
certain situations,
Right.
it would just, when I was in
Boom.
school, yes,
Right.
I mean, I'd have to run out of the classroom.
Oh, wow.
And
Wow.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
so
Right.
I do feel that it was linked to everything that I've been going through, was linked to my emotional instability.
Right. 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 Well, I'm happy that you got a clue. And I was saying to the
Yes,
sister yesterday that a lot of times we don't really get a clue as to what's going on until we get into our 40s and 50s. It takes a long time,
yes,
especially when you don't have a guide, a elder woman or somebody who can give you good advice.
yes, yes,
And many of us don't have that, you know. And,
yes,
and so learning, and that's why I do these kinds of things. Having to learn and rebuild the wheel all over again, every single woman, is not how we're supposed to be living.
right,
We are
right,
supposed to circle and give each other information and stories and talk to each other. I mean, because it helps your kids, it helps my kids, because when you
yes,
know, you teach your children and you teach your friends and on and on. So there's a reason for this, for us to be, we are the teachers, we're the first teachers. And but we also have to be taught. And as women, that's why we have to have multi generational women together to help each other.
yes, yes. I wish my mother would have, I guess she came from the South, and you don't just talk about things. And
Right,
I watched her, with some of the situations, not knowing. I
right,
didn't know she was anemic.
right.
I didn't know
Height
she had
or
acid
eating
reflux.
dirt.
Yes, I didn't
Yes.
know those things.
Yeah.
I didn't know that she had acid reflux. I didn't
Right.
know, she ended up having a partial hysterectomy. I didn't know it until later on, but still didn't know why.
Right.
Still
And that
didn't know
used to be
why.
that used to be grown folks' business and women's
Right.
business, and they didn't talk about it unless they didn't even, I don't think, talk too much to their friends about it. I mean, that wasn't even something you could overhear
Here.
unless,
Right.
sometimes they said, girl, the situation and other, and you trying to stretch and hear what the story is, and they like, get out
Yeah.
of here,
It was very coded. Like if they
very
did
coded.
speak. Yes.
Very coded. Yeah.
It was.
So, but now, this is what we're trying to avoid. I talk to my daughter all the time. She tells me that I
I do
traumatized
too.
her by getting too much information at too young an age. But, it is one of the things that African American people have always done with their kids. We always have to tell our kids more than they need to know it
Right.
to protect them, you know.
Right. You're right.
So we do. The I remember my brothers getting the police talk at 9 years old, 8 years old, and I'm saying to my mom, Mom,
Yes.
why are you telling them that and you're not telling us? And she says, you hopefully will never have to deal with this. But having to tell
Correct.
your 8-year old and 9-year old to can I call my mother, sir? Can I didn't do it,
Yes.
sir. I mean, this whole kind of subservience thing to get the police to get off of you, and you 8 years
Right.
old.
Right.
It's just a lot of stuff that we deal with that becomes normal. You know, and
You're
and we
right.
and that's the thing, is that we normalize a lot of abuse in our culture.
We do. We do. And I do. Everything that I've gone through, my oldest daughter, she was here. She was pregnant at the time.
Okay.
And she had moved from Georgia. I told her I wanted her to have the baby here because they weren't letting anyone, into the rooms at the time.
Oh, right.
My grandson, he's one right now.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
she was around, and I said, yeah, so if this happens, you need to do this. And,
Right.
she was watching me measure out the tonics and,
right,
taking the herbal supplements, and
right, right, right,
and I said it doesn't matter what it tastes like.
right.
It does not matter. I,
Mm,
said I will take these because these fibroids do not belong to me.
right, right,
And I did what I had to do. And I'm
right.
so grateful and thankful for
Yeah.
all of your help. I
Oh
really
well,
am.
I realized my mission early on, and so it turned into this particular thing, but I always knew that I was here to help and empower women, you know, and so I was working at it when I was a little girl, you know. You don't know what you there for, but you know that you're standing for
Right.
something, you know.
And
So
bless you for listening to that.
you
And
know what? That's the thing that I really want to impart to women is that little voice and listening to their little voice and acting on it and not looking for permission from authorities to detox their womb, to take care of their health, to do the things that's necessary for them, to relax themselves, to release stress,
yes,
to get rid of bad men in their lives, husbands,
yes,
sons, if you got to, I
yes,
mean, it's just a lot of things that we have culturally been ascribed. That's our role. And it's even, and I
yes,
call it the good girl syndrome, and it's even
hmm,
worse for women who are raised, I won't say worse, more intense um, loyalty for women who are raised in the South and Caribbean and African women. I was raised in Michigan. My family is from Jackson and they migrated for the factory jobs. So I had the Southern ways, but I didn't have the Southern, I'm going to do what everybody tell me to do.
okay,
you know, I didn't have that, and so that was a key in me being able to understand what we being told we supposed to do and what we expected to do and what you can do if you tell them hell no, I'm not doing that. you know and
right,
so that's the key is that and I even set up a class called how to be a grown ass woman because of that you know
yes. Because
and
you're
it's
always told to keep your mouth closed. Don't you repeat. Don't you say. Don't you do. And you
right,
do what I say.
right,
And that is the Southern way
and
of
that
living.
eats you up like you
It,
literally
yes,
throat, the whole thing, eating up.
yes,
I mean, because you going from the teeth all the way down to the very end.
yes,
That is the life channel, and really kind of, if you were looking at it symbolically, they were just actually draining your life.
absolutely. And
Yeah,
you don't even know because you're living that life and you haven't seen any other way,
right. It's
other than
normal.
that in your household. So you see things going, and but when you step out that door, you better be shinier than a brand new penny.
Right, right,
And
right. I did the
and
same. We had the same thing. Grease up with the
yes,
Vaseline. That means you
mm-hmm,
that means you fixed up and you ready to go.
right, right. And you don't say nothing. You don't open your mouth. You
Right.
just
Yep. What goes
exist.
on in the house stays in the house. That whole thing.
Yes,
I know. Yes, God, I'd like see that's the thing. I had both sides. And so it works out really, really well. And I don't know if there's anybody, African Americans, because I used to do the Tom Joyner cruise, people coming from all over the world, we all have the same foundation, you know,
yes,
as far as those kinds of things. You know, um, and I think, a lot of that stuff is not only Southern, but it's African too, because the people in
mm-hmm,
the Caribbean have it. It's a lot
mm-hmm,
of that. So when we all come together, you could tell a joke and everybody laughs because everybody has the same thing, you know. Um, you
yes,
know, the, the eating, you better eat that, or it's gonna be there when you come back, and
right.
you know, just all kinds of things. White on rice. We have a lot of cultural mores that are significant, and all of us know them. But some of us are raised to stick to it stronger than others.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially when there's a lot of situations going on, in the household, no matter
Right.
how great or small,
Right.
it you
Right.
still were, it's like you're stifled, like you cannot speak, about it. I even remember, I'm just sharing, my
Yeah.
father's military.
Oh,
And
wow.
even when I was younger, I was like,
Right.
I need to talk to somebody.
Right.
And his thing was, we don't do therapy.
Right.
You don't need therapy.
Right.
And I just knew, because my grandmother had passed and then our house caught on fire, and
Oh,
then we
right.
had to immediately go three how many thousands of miles to the Philippines.
Oh,
We had
wow.
to move
Right.
from South
Right.
Carolina, which is a whole new
Culture.
culture,
Yeah.
oh my goodness,
Right.
the
And you can't
difference.
go back on the weekends and
No.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And to be uprooted in the middle of the
Polarized.
school year,
Right.
it was devastating in the sixth, being a sixth grader.
Right. 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 And you know what? That what you're talking about, a lot of people can relate to that. Because I was just reading an article today in the New York Times that was talking about Black people becoming more acclimated and getting more involved with therapy, because that is one of the things that a lot of Black people say, "Oh no, we don't tell people our business. We don't tell, we
Right.
don't do therapy. We don't." Yeah, I mean, because a lot of times, now that we are grown, we're realizing some stuff that was going on in some aspects of the family was dangerous enough that if we hadn't been who we were, they would have took them kids.
Right.
You know, a
Right.
lot of stuff was going on that should not have been going on. You
Right.
know,
Right.
so yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. But I'm very happy that you had a great outcome.
I
I saw
did.
you on that beach with that picture in that hot little bathing suit. I said, look at her.
I definitely wanted to share, because I did send you the before, right? You saw
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
the
You sent me a
before,
before.
yes,
Yeah, yeah.
yes, and I
Yeah, I
was
think you
like,
sent me a before.
oh, it just
But
happened too fast. I
right,
didn't get to put wrap my head around it, and I'm not sure if that happens with people.
it does.
That okay,
Because some people
okay,
get into like you said, if your grandmother dies, like my mom dies, or if you get a car accident, those things are not planned. Those are huge traumas that are sudden.
yes,
You can't adjust to that even before or after. It is just a shock to the system,
right,
you know.
right,
And depending on what else you already got going on, and then you have um, a predisposition toward these things because your mom had them. Not saying you had to have it, but your mom had it. So if you get the right kinds of stressors in the right situations, boom,
mhm,
everything starts. You
yeah.
know,
And
yeah,
it did. And it hit hard and fast. And, a lot of the things that they were saying, oh, you might have this might go on, those things were untrue. I went
yeah,
to the specialist and found out, no, that's not why that was going on. No. So that
yeah.
was very helpful. But for me to have 7 specialists
Wow.
in less than a month,
Oh, wow.
that
Mm-mm.
it really probably contributed
Stress, just
to,
knowing what to do, where to go. Am I going
during
to
the
get the
pandemic,
yes? Oh, wow. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
that I was very stressful,
Right.
because I'm the kind of person that I know what I'm more in control, of what's
Well, you
going
know
on.
what?
I
I
try to
think that's
be.
a Black woman thing.
Okay. When
I
I
think that's
lost
a
that
Black woman thing.
control,
Yeah. Yeah.
I was oh, I was a
Yeah.
basket case. I really didn't know where I was going, what I was going to do next, what was getting ready to happen in the world.
Right.
Am I going to be able to see my children? Is
Right.
what I have going on, is it going to, do some real damage?
Right.
Do I have to have multiple surgeries, which I'm not a fan of?
Right. Right.
Um,
Well,
you
that's
know,
why I can't. That's why all the women sisters come to me. That's the thing that they're avoiding is surgery.
yes,
That's what
yes,
they're avoiding. And we know historically, doctors have not been kind to Black women on on any kind of surgery. If they go on there and they say they only gonna do one thing, they don't do that. A lot of
yes,
times they don't do that. So
yes,
nobody wants to go in thinking they're getting a myomectomy, just get the lumps cut out, and they come out and they took a massive hysterectomy and they don't have tubes or nothing. you know. So we
I
have to
will,
just trust.
yes, and I will say this to the women. If you feel like you are uncomfortable in that room with your doctor, get another one.
Yep.
Leave. I was so blessed to have the best
Hmm.
OBGYN. I
Okay.
kid you, his name is Dr. Falk. He lives
Okay.
here in Virginia.
Okay.
When
Hmm.
I tell you this man did not want to take anything, he
Okay.
said, you know what? Deal with that weight. I know you don't want it. And he said, and I'll tell you, you might gain 100 pounds, but your uterus is beautiful and I'm not taking it out. And because you're
Hmm.
perimenopausal,
Yeah, you
he
need it.
said, yeah,
You
we're
need
not
it.
doing anything. He said,
Right.
and then when you're menopause, it'll go back to its natural size.
Yeah.
You're just gonna have to deal with the weight that you have. And I appreciated him because I have friends, they don't have their parts.
They don't have their womb, and you know
They
what?
don't, and I
And they
beg
don't
them
want to
to
have
go to my
sex.
doctor and to even, listen to you. Go to your website. I
Yeah.
beg them,
Yeah.
and I don't know why. It,
Well, you know what?
I'm a
The thing
walking
is, again,
testimony.
we like we're in a very paternalistic society, and women sometimes feel like they need to be told by a man for it to be a legitimate situation. You know, I mean, it's how we raised. That's what I'm talking about. You know, how you get raised in Africa, the Caribbean, and the South, where men are running everything. Women are running the home stuff in the church, but they behind some guy who's still getting the credit for all the work they're doing.
Right. and
And
and definitely go to someone that is black,
oh, you know what?
because some of
Why
them, they
not?
don't know
Why not?
anything about it, right?
Nope,
If these women, they're not used to what we're going through,
nope.
and they will steer you some other kind of way. And
I tell everybody, we're telling all of our kids, our daughters, our sons that they can do anything in the world. So why are we going across town once a year to give our money to D white men? Why are we doing that? We need to be supporting these our kids in their profession as OBs, as
right,
attorneys, as accountants,
right,
whatever they're doing, that's what they need to see. And my whole life, I've always done that. My kids only have seen, you know, brown, black people to do work for them. You know,
absolutely,
and the one time
absolutely,
when I took my kids to the doctor when they like 8, 10, and 11, that was like the first time that they had been to the doctor since they was born because I've been working on them, you know. And
right.
and the doctor, she says, "Mom, these are the healthiest kids I ever seen. I can't believe it's the first time they've been in the doctor, but then again, I can. That's why they so healthy, you know."
Right. My
Yep.
son, when he went to college, he went and got his physical from his pediatrician. She was a black woman, loved her
Right.
when we lived in Georgia.
Right.
And she was like, "Are you sure you want?" He was like, "Yeah." Sat in that waiting room. Do you hear me, with all those little screaming babies and kids running around? And he did not care. You
Right.
know,
Right.
um, they have been going to her for years, and until the last day,
Right.
he
Right.
went to her, for his checkup.
Right.
And because we trust her, and she
Right.
was always good, with her information and
Right.
everything with him. So
Right.
that was the funniest thing. But yeah, he was like, no, I want to go to Dr. Johnson. I said, okay, that's
Right. Right.
fine.
Right.
That
That's
is
good.
okay.
And you know what? She was impressed. She was like, "Oh, you know."
Yes, she was. She was.
She had his little pictures up there. Now he's a big man and he's still coming
Right.
in. You
Yeah,
know.
6'3",
Yeah,
two
I can
something.
imagine. You're right. I can imagine. And she probably 5'2" at most. You know.
Yeah, she was a little itty bitty. Yes, she
Yeah, yeah,
was.
yeah. Well,
But we
I am
loved her.
so appreciative and so happy that you're having great results and that
Yes.
you're happy and things are moving forward in your life. That's what we want. You know.
Yes.
That's what we want.
Yes. Thank you. I really, really appreciate you have, well, you do. I keep saying you have no idea, but yes, to all the women, please just stick with it. Don't stop.
Right.
Continue. You will get the results. I
Right.
guarantee you, you'll
Yeah.
get the results that you need. And mine, like I said, mine were the size of footballs and things. They were huge. So not even knowing whether it would work for that. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Because they were so big.
Right.
But you know,
It
I'm a
works.
living testimony. It
Right.
worked.
You changed your food, you reduced your stress, you noticed what the stress was, you went and got some counseling so you can keep the stress down,
Yes.
and you work with the herbs. That's the key.
Yes. And you can't do one without the other.
Right.
You really can't. You have to do it all
You have to
because
do
you
it all.
may not you may not have the results that you need, especially
Right.
if you're in a more serious situation,
Right.
with them and things like that. But I, follow the steps. I knew before I contacted you, I had, contacted my therapist. I
Right.
said, okay, she said, so I contacted my, the plant-based nutritionist.
Right.
I mean, and I use all, you know, everyone is black. Everybody is
Right.
African American.
And you know what?
I
We got to do that.
Yes. And I searched for them. I really
And you know
did.
what? Sometimes you do have to search, you know,
Yes.
not just ask people, but you got to really Google and all that kind of
Right.
stuff. And then, when my kids had Kaiser a couple years ago, I called Kaiser. I said, "Do you guys have any black male therapists for black men?" "Oh, we don't have any." "Y'all need to go recruit them in eighth grade.
Right.
Start getting them in eighth grade and letting them know what they need to do so they can get the right high school courses, so they can get to the right school, college, and all of that." But that's an
Absolutely.
important thing because those perspectives are valuable, you know?
Yes.
Why would you
Yes.
go to anybody else and have them wondering, what does that mean? Or asking you. If somebody got to ask you what it means you're in the wrong place.
Right.
I once
Right.
had a therapist and I said something like, like I said, I made a statement like white on rice or something like that. And she says, "What does that mean exactly?" My last time talking to her
I'm sure.
in Berkeley.
I'm sure. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Well, I'm thankful for you. I appreciate you supporting everything that we have going on here at Dr. Sisters Herbals. I always, whenever I send out an email, I see your thing come through. I'm doing the this, I'm doing it that. You always sign up, and I really appreciate the support because people don't realize it's a lot to keep everything going as one person.
Yes.
But it's also you really want to make sure that you're on the pulse of what the sisters that you're serving need. And
Right.
then you also need to see that they're going to support that you're doing what they need, you know?
Right. Right.
So sometimes you get kind of like, oh my God, I'm spending all this time and everybody else is out there in the park and doing everything. And I want to be outside planting, but I got to do something in here because I got a thing coming, and then
Yes.
you want people to show up, because you're dedicating your free time to them and what they need.
Right.
And
Right.
it is a dedication, it is a mission. It's not just something I'm doing for money because I could have did a lot of other stuff already for money.
I'm sure. Yes. Yes.
you know
Well, we need you, and I'm going to continue to spread the word
Thank you.
and let people know. And my niece, she's doing well. She was taking the what is it for the menstrual for
No more
heavy
cramps.
cramps?
Yeah.
Yes. So
Yes.
she's doing excellent. She
Oh,
is
great.
doing very well.
Great,
Yes.
great, great. Well, I'm gonna have to get Moses and Moses Daddy on here and
Yes.
talk and meet Moses in person, and because I
Yes.
decided this new platform that I'm using is so friendly. It's friendly. You feel it doesn't feel like Zoom. And
Right.
so
Right.
yeah. So I said I was gonna do a lot of interviews because people like you text me the great news, and I'm just gonna start doing a little something here to get that news because it's enthusiastic and everybody needs to be pumped up and enthusiastic for healing. We get
Yes.
pumped up for soccer games, for basketball games. I mean, let's get pumped up for healing.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
So I see somebody calling me. I know you got to go. I promised you just a certain amount of time. So I'm going to go ahead and give you that opportunity. And thank you again for showing up for this the womb wellness. It's going to be great.
Oh, thank you.
And I did send your ticket in your text.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay then.
All right.
Okay then.
Thank
Okay
you.
then.
All right.
I'll talk to you later, Sylvia.
Uh,
Thank you so much for being
okay.
here.
Thank
Okay then.
you. All right.
Ovario, have a great Herbal day.
Vario, you as
Okay.
well. Bye bye.
Okay. Bye bye.